Zoo, do you have any questions for XFL legend Jeff Brom to start the show?
Now that the NFL has incorporated the dynamic kickoff that was originally from the XFL, is there any interest in bringing it back? And how does it feel seeing that in the NFL? Is it worth it, or should they be reverting back?
Well, let me answer that question by asking you two questions. One, is this or is this not the XFL? Yes, it is. Two, do I or do I not currently have a pulse? Yes, I do. Let's play football.
Oh, those smooth vocals of one Mark Sinclair, aka Vin Diesel. They always let you know that this is the Sunday Hangover on the 323. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I am your host, Reid Murphy, the Reverend, I guess, of the Sunday Hangover. Joined
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah by that sweet singing angel over there, Scott Ellia, host of the 323 College Shame Day. Hello, Scott.
Hello, and I the aforementioned reel that I was mentioning, I finally found it, and I just sent it to the group chat. So if you want to see Zoo get angry at someone's trying to take his bratas, go look at that.
And that angry man over there, he's so angry that he's smiling and just looking so handsome and adorable. It's Zuhair Ali. Hello, Zoo. How have you been? How was your holiday weekend?
Holiday weekend was good. Turkey Bowl got canceled because of rain, so I was kind of bummed about that. But after we ate, we still went out and threw the football around because the weather was better at that point. So that was nice. And then went up to DC because my cousin was visiting from Tennessee, and we got to watch the Titans and Commanders play, and just a weekend of, holiday pop-up markets and bars and festivities and walking around, eating good food, spending good time. It was a much needed 5 days. Sure, 5 days.
Yeah, 5 days. Yeah, it's been a very interesting 5 days. Something
goes back Monday. Okay, yeah, 5 days.
Yeah, there you go.
What's today?
Tuesday, but Wednesday maybe for some people.
Who knows? The Sunday hangover.
On the Sunday hangover, yeah, because that's how it goes. Yeah, this has been a bad hangover. We were talking about how bad it's a food hangover, a football hangover. Like everything's just been ripping through us for several days now, and we're trying to recalibrate and come back from it. And I want to start in a couple different places because, of course, with the Sunday hangover, we're always talking football. We're hungover from football, feeling shitty from football, but in a good way. And we still want more, especially when we're in that marathon of football days. College football and getting a College Shame Day recap from Scott. We already had plenty of NFL controversy and just shit all over the place from Thanksgiving, just from Thursday, and then another game on Friday that was baffling. College football kind of took the Sunday, of the Sunday hangover part in just absolute chaos, absolute craziness, because it was rivalry week. And there's nobody better to tell you about what went down, why it went down, and what the impact from all of it is than the host of the 323 College Shame Day, Scott Ellia. So
I actually watched one of those games too.
What did you watch?
I did too.
Vanny, Tennessee.
Oh,
because we had just picked up my cousin from Tennessee, got to the hotel, and instantly turned that game on.
You have to. Scott, how did it all go? How was that game? How was everything this week?
I loved all of it. Aside from the Wheel of Degenerate betting slip, because we lost again, thanks to Ohio State for losing to Michigan. I don't even understand how you lose that team, but I guess Ryan Day is just going to do what Ryan Day does best and choke in the biggest of moments. So I'm very interested to see, because as of recording, they haven't released the latest rankings for the college football playoffs. So I'm interested what's going to happen with Alabama, more specifically being a 3-loss SEC team, and how South Carolina is going to get shafted because they're South Carolina and and the other team's Alabama. But no, I mean, you had crazy games all throughout. Like I said, Michigan beat Ohio State by 3, Texas A&M. It was close the whole time. That was one of the lower scoring games from this past week. I mean, even USC was giving Notre Dame a run for their money. Miami shit the bed against Syracuse. And then you have head coach for Syracuse during his on-field interview saying, "Hey, Dabo, you're welcome. We got you." So that way he kind of got propelled up into the limelight because of that. In Indiana just crushing Purdue. Purdue's head coach has since been fired, but they won 66-0 that game. And then congrats to BYU 30-18 over Houston. So congrats there. And then, I think the biggest thing coming out of this weekend, I think the count was up to like 8 games ended in brawls. Because of flag planting and the 50-yard line. You see the big brawl for the Michigan-Ohio State game where, players got pepper sprayed. And then in some other games, fans are rushing the field and they're getting like shoulder checked by these 6'8" monsters of men and just getting decimated there. And of course, Florida State at home losing to Florida. And having that whole thing, and head coach Mike Norvell going over there and giving Billy Napier, head coach of Florida, an earful, and then going over and promptly removing the flag and throwing it to the side. So, but I'm all for it. As much as it pains me to see a team like Florida plant their flag in Doak after the season that we've been having, should have won the game. We had that game in our hands throughout the whole 4 quarters. There was no point where I felt where we were really getting handled, but we're shooting ourselves in the foot. And if you don't want a team to come into your house and plant their flag and mark their territory, you play to win the game. So I'd say keep doing it.
That has to be on the soundboard, right?
I don't have that one on the soundboard actually, but I'm sure we'll be getting onto that. I actually have 2 sounds from the weekend though, because I'm glad that you brought up Fran Brown from Syracuse. And I wanted to ask you guys, what is the better coach sound from the weekend? Because we had 2 great ones. We haven't had too many this season to throw onto the soundboard. We're usually champions of this stuff. But we had Fran Brown at Syracuse, looking for his roses from Dabo Swinney, for helping Clemson probably get into the playoff.
Hey, Dabo Swinney, congrats. I got you in, baby. I'll holler at you later.
It's the holler at you later part. That's my favorite, talking to the reporter. I'll holler at you later. I'll holler at you later.
He won't.
Or is it Mike Tomlin talking to one of his players when they
Yeah.
Shut up. Shut your ass up. Let's go.
Coach, I didn't know you were mic'd up. Yeah, that was a winner for me.
He reminds me of that crazy uncle that always pops up for like cookouts and shit, and you say something out of pocket and he just like gives it right back to you, like, get the fuck back in the house.
That was all weekend. I'm curious with you. So you're okay with the flag planting? That's been like the heaviest conversation from the weekend has been, because the result of Michigan Ohio State was not only just the upset of Michigan, giving Ryan Day what Ryan Day does, but also flag plant goes down and it turns into a brawl, which turns into a melee, which turns into police pepper spraying the players and coaches and even some media members to get off of the field. So, and when you have that and then brawls at like 8 other games, is flag planting, do you think there's going to be an overcorrection to this? Are they going to try and get rid of it, or is it just all fair to you?
Well, even if you remove the flag planting, you're not going to get rid of the potential of a brawl happening in those high stakes, high emotional games, right? Like even after even after something like Michigan beating Ohio State, even if they don't go out there and plant the flag, teams are still these players are still intermingling on the field, saying congrats and giving their props, in nice ways. But then you're also going to have guys on either side who are going to take a cheap shot or, chirp back, and you're going to see it anyways. I mean, you see it in the NFL. They don't flag plant in the NFL, but once you have the two teams intermixing and on the field, anything could happen. So I don't think the flag planting is totally to blame. I think there's probably going to be some kind of overcorrection to where like some team, whoever plants the flag in that kind of a way, is going to get like heavily fined. But you're also seeing the same conversations with field rushing this year, and how many times you've seen fans rushing the field and causing problems and this, that, and the fourth. So I'm very interested to see how the NCAA is going to handle it from here on out. It's not even just unique to football, because you see fans storming the court on basketball games. Baseball, you don't see it, or soccer, you don't really see it. But it's just those main two sports. So I'm interested to see how they're going to do the correction. But it's not, whatever correction they do, it's not going to get rid of it.
Baseball and soccer, they're just waking up by that time too. So,
well, and then you also have to climb the netting. You can't really get out there that easily.
I think with the flag planting, it has to be like, as long as you're not fucking with the other team's like logo on the field, that's just a whole other level of disrespect. But if they don't, if they straight up get rid of flag planting, like it's going to be something else, right? Like these are college kids. They can get really creative with how crazy they get on things of that nature. I know with like Premier League, whenever like a team's about to win the cup, like they have the second that the clock goes down and it's like officially won, like security has to go out and get the players back in the tunnels because they know the fans are going to like rush the field and things of that sort. I know that a lot of these students are like, these players are students, so they get to interact with these people in classes and stuff like that. But it just, field rushing, I think, is just a complete safety concern that you really shouldn't allow just for that, because people can just get hurt and there's liabilities and this happens and that happens. Like, have your security means to foresee stuff like this and quit being so surprised when it actually happens and acting like animals when something happens after the fact. You just start anticipating it and being able to act before it gets out of hand. I think it's just the security logistics needs an upgrade more than
right.
anything else.
And that's the thing. It's time to nip it in the bud now before something more detrimental happens. I mean, hell, the last thing you need is some kid out there who's 18, 19 years old, and they're definitely been drinking, and they get heat of the moment and someone gets trampled or some serious injury ends up happening. I could see it to where they just make it to where, like, at the end of the game, teams don't go out in the field. You go straight to your locker rooms. Maybe the head coaches meet at midfield and they shake hands as kind of like a gesture of respect. But I could see one precaution being, beefing up security so that way you're not having to handle or have to deal with field rushing and things that come along. Because you're right, it's a huge liability for the schools in case something were to happen. I mean, how much money is it to replace a field goal post? I mean, how many field goal posts do we see get ripped out of the ground this year and they just end up in a river somewhere or someone's backyard and shit? So I think with it having, I hate to say it this way, not so much they're fearing for anyone's lives, but I think they're more or less fearing for their pocketbook, and they're trying to reduce the potential financial risk.
Yeah. Yeah, there definitely shouldn't be any means for students to get onto the field. That should be for players and personnel only. Like, that's that. You can have like a certain allotted time for players to meet afterwards real quick, and then they just need to be like escorted off. Like, there needs to be like a 10-15 minute buffer, whatever it is. Because in the NFL, like, the losing team kind of does their thing and just leaves anyways, right? So if the winning team wants to stick around for a little bit and a flag happens to come out and this and that, like, whatever. But like, the security measure needs to talk to the staff like, yo, if you're going to do something like this, give it 15 minutes. That's when we're going to start escorting the losing team off. Do your stupid stuff there. Just there's got to be some like calibration to it, right? Or you can do what the Washington football team did. It's like, hey, Dallas brought in their benches that had their branding on it. What did they do? They started beating each other up the game after.
Yeah.
have the players fight themselves.
I completely agree on the security measures. Like the thing with the crowd storming and field storming has been like, I've always thought it's an awesome look, and it doesn't help that ESPN, they'll do like the blimp shot or helicopter shot or whatever, and like
Black Friday. It's
yeah,
nothing looks great about any of that.
but it just, they kind of glorify it. Like it just looks like really like they got the band, like the band's playing, the school fight songs going, everybody's cheering, everybody's celebrating, everybody's having a good time. But then you start to think about like, how the hell did they not get, how did somebody not get crushed getting onto the field and getting through all those people? How are people not getting like groped or assaulted or something while out there? And what if you have somebody that like hates one of those players? Like it is a full-on security issue that, yeah, I agree. That needs to get fixed. Flag planting, and a lot of it was what you were bringing up, Zoo. It was flag planting on the opposing team's logo on their field.
Just
and it's disrespect. It's full on disrespect. But it's also, you bring up an argument there too. That's the responsibility, I think, of the coaches and the full on adults on the field to coach up their guys on how are you going to react to this, right? Scott was arguing, basically, you're going to plant your flag. We shouldn't lose. We shouldn't give you the opportunity to plant the flag. If you're going to put it down, yeah, you're coming at it with disrespect, but I don't have to react with a straight punch to the face or a punch to your helmet, because a lot of these idiots just punch each other in the helmet and they don't even wait for it to come off first or anything. But it's just a lot of that. And, guys getting in their feelings when the score gets run up. We saw it with Mike Loxley, the head coach of Maryland, and his interaction with Penn State's coach. And I'm drawing a blank on Penn State's coach name somehow. James Franklin. Yeah, thank you. He had a great point during his press conference that was just, I get it. Yeah, we scored a little too much, but my job is to get the 3s and the 4s out on the field. And when they get out on the field, I'm going to let them play football. I'm not going to have them come play some game to work towards your feelings and all. I'm not going to do that. Plus, with the college football playoff, like they look to things like scores and like how badly you route another team to, get you a better seeding. So it was a lot of disrespect in the college football world this weekend, but it was kind of fun to see. You like it. It's a little messy. We like a little messy with our football. Last thing I have on it, Scott, I wonder, like real quickly, because I'm sure we'll get more into it on College Shame Day every Saturday morning, but did the expansion, the college football playoff expansion, which I'm sure we'll do a post-game show to talk about what the latest rankings are. Do you think the expansion backfired a little bit with trying to get, the talk was getting new teams and new blood into the fold and giving them a chance, instead of the usuals of Alabama and Ohio State and Clemson and
Georgia,
and giving them that opportunity. Now it's almost like it paved a lane and a back door for those teams to sneak into the playoff when they're not doing as well. Do you think the expansion's really going to work out, or are we just going to set ourselves up for another one of these legacy teams to take it?
You're never going to make anybody happy, because the big issue why they expanded it to now is because you had all these bubble teams who are getting pissed off that they're not getting a chance to fight for a national championship when they still were very competitive teams. And you're still seeing it now. I mean, yeah, the top 12, and there's still teams within rank 13 to 20 that could easily still compete for a national title, and you're never going to make everybody happy. And I think that's one thing that you have to realize. You're not going to make anybody happy. But I think another reason why you're having issues, and we'll dive into it a little bit more on Shame Day, because, one of my major fixes that I feel that could help adjust the rankings as far as college football playoff goes is getting rid of rankings entirely. Because you have these teams who start out week 0 so high up there, and they're just kind of holding on to the fact like, oh, well, we opened up the season number 1. Sure, we lost a game, but that doesn't mean we should get anywhere further from that. That's why, at the beginning of the season, I was kind of on the side of, there shouldn't be any rankings of anything for college football until at least week 6, maybe week 7, but maybe you even push it until the college football rankings. No pro sports rank their teams. I mean, sure, you have power rankings for like media personalities, and they talking heads kind of argue about who's better than who and why Josh Allen's better than Lamar Jackson, and maybe you should go touch some grass. But no, like if the college football itself is trying to go after a sports model for a postseason, then maybe they should, not only look to the NFL and the next level to see like how their security protocols with the previous topic, but maybe you look after and try to go after the same format that they do for the whole league and have everything broken up to where, at the end of the season, strength of record, your record entirely, and you kind of go through it that way for seeding.
I could see that.
And I think the issue too is that there's so many teams too, right? I mean, I think last I was 62. I think there's 62 FBS teams. I could be wrong, but that's double the NFL, So like, but at least with the NFL, they have the scheduling procedures and things of that nature to where who you're kind of playing. The schedules for these college football teams are made so far in advance that you don't know how a team's how it's going to be. There's not as much turnover for your team year over year in the NFL as there is for college football. I mean, you have kids who leave early, you have coaches who, get fired a lot sooner rather than later. So it's like the product on the field isn't the same year in and year out. Look at Florida State, for instance. I didn't think we deserved 10th because I already knew the team that we're going to be putting on the field this year wasn't anywhere near the same team that we had out there last year. I mean, hell, we had 10, I think it was 25 All-Americans on the team last year, and now we're down to 2. Well, yeah, you're having a complete overhaul on both sides of the ball. So it's just and that's kind of playing into Florida State's hand now. Like people it's such a horrible kind of demise of a program. But it's no, in all actuality, the team that played last year isn't the same that played this year. So it's this is something that should have been expected. And the reason why it seems so bad as far as optics go is because they were ranked 10th in the nation to open up the season.
The way that this is at this rank, it's it'll just
134. I'm sorry, 134. I was way off.
134 will work to do the the college basketball March Madness kind of bracket that they'll just wind up doing.
Right. You have 134 schools and you're trying to whittle it down to 12.
Yeah. We'll knock it down to 64. We can get 64 schools.
Hey, how about this? How about we just shorten the season instead of having the playoff going into December? How about you cut the season off at Halloween, and then November you just have a 4-team playoff in each individual conference, and then you just put in the top 2 a round robin kind of thing, how the World Cup does it, and you just put the top 2 from those groups into the playoff. How about you just do that?
That's what we'll do.
How about it?
Yeah, how about that? And we'll work our way. We'll make it like a Cinderella team. We'll get Loyola Chicago's football team, if they have one, their rec league team, playing against Georgia in the national championship and just getting plowed.
Pause. Now go.
Breaking news: Loyola University Chicago Athletics. They do not have a football team.
Oh, damn it! No program.
Basketball, cross country, golf, soccer, track and field, and volleyball.
We'll get to work on that. Zoo can be their GM.
What's the nun for Loyola? What's her name?
Oh,
Sister Ruth or something like that. What the fuck's her name?
Sister Jean.
Oh, Sister. I'll email her. Is she alive? She's still with us?
She is still alive. We almost had her on the show over the summer, but there was a scheduling conflict. We almost had her on. She was doing a book. She's doing a book tour.
Oh, man.
Yeah. But we got Dick LeBeau out of it.
First, real quick question for both of you guys. Google searches and how out of pocket they can be. So I just Googled Sister Jean to double check to make sure she's still alive. And yes, she still is with us. The first, people also ask questions. Why is Sister Jean so famous? Did Sister Jean play basketball? Third up, what does Sister Jean eat? Who's Googling that?
Apparently a lot of people.
And the answer, she says, pretty much everything, but not too much of anything.
I guess you want to live to be that old and be, still Sister Jean-ish. So, yeah, you want to know what she wants to eat. Is she eating a lot of strawberries? Give me a lot.
Make sure you fit into those Sister Jeans.
I I don't even know what to give him for that one. That was kind of creative, but I'll say
No.
fit into those sister jeans. So that could be a great
He
episode.
gave that to himself for not knowing what else to do.
He did, yeah, pretty much.
That wasn't for you, Scott.
Can you make a Billie Jean cover for Sister Jean?
You're on a roll tonight.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna have ChatGPT do it.
The football team.
Oh my!
Chicago rules.
That's going to be their fight song as their football team with Zoo at the helm. Look, you can catch much more of Scott on the 323 College Shame Day. There's going to be a lot to talk about this coming week, and we will probably get into some on the post-game show here. We will just, briefly update the NFL scores from Week 13 because we have a draft to get to. We have a very important draft that we've been building up to that we need to get to. The NFL weekend was interesting enough, but a lot of the interest really came last Thursday on Thanksgiving with the very first game between the Chicago Bears and the Detroit Lions. I earned that one. Where the Detroit Lions, they beat the Chicago Bears 23-20, but it really felt like a loss. Probably the closest to a loss that you can get. Matt Eberflus really he earned that loss single-handedly. I will ask though, because everybody's talked about Eberflus, and he got fired for not calling a timeout there at the end of the game and letting Caleb Williams just kind of flounder and run out the clock on their own team. Am I wrong for thinking that Caleb Williams is just shy of being as stupid as Eberflus in that game? Because you can bring up like a rookie mistake or a rookie mentality or something, but I think knowing the time and knowing the clock is something that you learn at like the basic bare level of football, like high school. Like, am I wrong for thinking that he should have gotten the blame on that too? Because like he's fucking throwing his arms and throwing his hands around, and of course like Eberflus should have like said, do something, call the timeout. That's where the fireable offense is. But Caleb got him fired. Got him fired in that case.
The quarterback has the ability to call that timeout. The second that he realized he was the one doing the hurry up, he should have been like, "No, I'm not ready for this."
Well, didn't the NFL impose a new rule that the head coaches were the only ones allowed to call timeouts, or is it just on the sideline personnel? They're the only ones.
There was something like that, but I thought that players could at least still call it. At least whoever like the mic position is on there. And for those that don't even realize the situation or don't know, what happened was the Bears had 34 seconds left in the game. They're driving into field goal range to at least potentially tie.
Get wrecked.
And at least potentially tie with the Lions and keep the Lions' streak of losing on Thanksgiving alive. It would have been the biggest upset of the weekend, probably, right? In that spot, and a huge confidence booster for Caleb Williams. But instead, Caleb gets sacked with 34 seconds left. There's a timeout remaining, and Caleb doesn't know the play. He's trying to adjust. He's trying to call something, gets back onto the field, is just standing there. It finally gets down to 10 seconds. You don't want to take the timeout. The timeout is the worst-case scenario because you need that timeout before your field goal. But at least take the timeout and give yourself a fighter's chance so that you can just maybe get a sideline shot if you need to get a little closer. Did we see anything on that rule for like who can call the timeouts?
Yeah, sideline personnel, because that came up a couple weeks ago when Steve Spagnuolo of the Chiefs, he called a timeout and not Andy Reid. So nobody else can call timeout on the sideline except for the head coach.
That's wild.
So the quarterback cannot.
Is the quarterback on the sideline or is he on the field, Zoo?
Okay, but then you specified the person.
Sorry, that was kind of shitty. I'm sorry, that was kind of shitty.
Your wording made me like unclear of it again.
Unnecessary shot at Zoo.
But Zoo,
you don't specified who could say it on the fucking sideline, not on the goddamn field.
Zoo, you don't even realize how passive aggressive he's been tonight. He came off very aggressive before you even got on the show. We got a mood. I like it.
Yeah, by rule, the head coach or any player can, but nobody else on the sideline besides the head coach.
Okay.
See, you just said any other player can.
I don't know. I don't know where this is going.
Oatmeal.
Now I don't want to ask another follow
Oatmeal.
up. I don't get yelled at or stassed at. I'm doing the yelling.
Well, I'm kind of upset because somebody didn't bring crumble cookies onto the show.
I mean, I brought it. It's in my beard, like little pieces of it that are.
What did you get? What did you get? Well, no, I want to guess. Did you get the Oreo milkshake?
No, you look like a lemon kind of guy.
2 of those.
You got 2 of the Oreo?
Skip the lemon this time for another Oreo.
Oh.
Ooh, you could have put some ice cream in between it. Some cookies and cream ice cream in between the Oreo cookie.
Oh my God.
What are my other 2?
What are your other 2?
Honey bun.
Honey bun. Yeah.
No, actually, just skip honey bun.
Did you go chalk and go chocolate chip cookie?
No.
Oh.
Okay, good. The
Did you get
holiday Jimmy Fallon one?
Yeah,
the
the Jimmy Fallon brownie.
Yeah, I got the Fallon one.
And
Strawberry?
birthday cake.
Strawberry.
Hey! Oh, happy day.
Oh, happy day.
Now, Crumble, give us that sponsorship.
Mhm. I wonder if they have a affiliate program. I'll Google it.
On it. Now the Detroit Lions, they are 11-1. Chicago Bears are 4-8. Also on Thanksgiving, we had the New York Giants take on the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys beat the Giants 27-20. Dallas is 5-7. Giants are 2-10. Micah Parsons says the Cowboys are gonna make a run, that they're back. Is he telling the truth, Zoo?
I mean, they can try to play for a wild card spot. I don't think they'll secure one.
Yeah. You goofs. Another team that's fighting for a wild card spot. I don't know if they'll get there because this was not great, and it was the source of my tummy ache on Thursday night. The Miami Dolphins, who are 5-7 now, they lost to the Green Bay Packers, who are 9-3. 30-17 was the final of that one. It was never really close. Black Friday, the Black Friday game on Amazon Prime, where they're just throwing deals at you while you're trying to watch the game. Kansas City Chiefs are 11-1 now. They beat the Las Vegas Raiders, who are 2-10. It was 19-17 though, and this was another one of those mental lapse things at the ending where I'll give him a shout out. Aiden O'Connell was looking really good on that final. Like, he was putting on a clinic with a 2-minute drill there and driving down the field to the potential offensive rookie of the year, Brock Bowers. And they get down there, and it was just a mental lapse of clapping. Aiden O'Connell just, did a little gentle clap, and it set off his center. But he took great accountability for it. I like the kid. I think Aiden O'Connell's fun. I don't know if he's going to be a franchise quarterback, but at least he's doing a good job with leadership. And I don't know if Antonio Pierce is going to keep that job. Probably not, but at least he's done a good job of having his players be accountable. Now,
Bears coach.
He could be. You never know.
Who?
You never know. Sunday, we had the fucking Commanders make a tremendous return going into their bye week. They took on the Tennessee Titans and beat them 42-19. Commanders are now 8-5. Titans are 3-9. We had the Los Angeles Chargers beat the Atlanta Falcons 17-13. Chargers are 8-4. Falcons 6-6. Kirk Cousins should have been brunch time. Kirk, don't know what happened. 4 interceptions, some incredibly lazy throws, some pick sixes in there.
He's been on reverse of primetime Kirk ever since he got in the Falcons. Like, his normal games, he can't do anything, and whenever it's spotlight, it's like, oh my god.
I'm just mad that he came between me and $22,000. Fucking asshole.
Yeah, we got to get to more of that on Thursday.
That's where the passive aggressiveness is coming from.
Oh yeah, a lot of it hanging in there.
I had plans for the money and everything,
like a haze, just leaking all
Crumble
over.
cookies?
Yeah. Oh yeah, lots of crumble cookies.
Oh, speaking of crumble cookies, they do have an affiliate program for content creators.
We're getting it.
Just saying.
Give it to us. Give it to us. The Pittsburgh Steelers. What a game this was. They beat the Cincinnati Bengals. You got to feel for the Bengals. Steelers are 9-3. Bengals are 4-8, but the final score was 34-38. What has happened with Cincinnati to where they asked Jamar Chase, do you feel like you have to put up 35 points a game just to have a shot? And he said, yeah, basically, isn't that what it is? Like,
If every draft pick is not on the defensive side of the ball next year, I will be appalled.
draft pick, free agency money, like everything has to go into defense.
Trades.
Oh my God! And Pittsburgh, looking fun. Russell Wilson, dangerous, Mr. Unlimited, coming back at you.
There's no one can go fuck himself.
Does he stay there after the Broncos contract?
Let's ride. The Minnesota Vikings, they beat the Arizona Cardinals 23-22. It was the fraud bowl, as I like to think of it. The Vikings are 10-2 now. The Cardinals are 6-6. I don't trust either of them. I don't care how the game went. Game that went a wild way. The Indianapolis Colts, they beat the New England Patriots 25-24 on a last second 2-point conversion to win the game by Anthony Richardson. Continues to build his confidence up there. Colts are 6-7 now. Patriots are 3-10. Seahawks, the Seattle Seahawks, they escaped a scary, potentially embarrassing game here. They beat the New York Jets 26-21. Seahawks are 7-5 now. Jets are 3-9, and not looking good on Aaron Rodgers' 41st birthday. So, happy birthday to that guy.
Wow. What's the shade for, dude?
Got more fantasy points than Kirk Cousins, though, so grateful to him for that.
Whew. You see Brock Purdy's points, too? Oh, my God. 3 points, I think. Ugh.
Trevor Lawrence had a day.
Well, speaking of him, the Houston Texans, they beat the Jacksonville.
I don't remember the day, but he had a day.
23-20. And yes, it was marred by a vicious hit from Texans linebacker Azeez Al-Shaair, who just, as Trevor Lawrence was going to slide on however long of a run it was for a first down, Shaair just came in and full shoulder into Trevor Lawrence's head, knocked him clean out, and immediately out for the game with a concussion. Dude looked like one of those mannequins sitting in the golf cart as they were taking him out, just staring straight ahead. Vicious hit. Azeez has kind of like a history of it. He got a 3-game suspension. Now it's created this whole mentality with the Houston Texans that the world is against them and out to paint this guy the wrong way. Azeez said, God only knows my intentions, because he's trying to defend himself. And I saw the text. I got a text from God himself. It said, not gonna lie, that was pretty dicey.
Dude,
So,
I mean, talking about like with the college conversation about security protocols and coaching your team to be able to emotionally deal with situations like that, why the fuck would you engage in a fight with the defender over your quarterback's rotting body? Like, that was the scariest thing about that, is how many people got involved in that fight when he's just laying there unconscious face first in the dirt. What the fuck, guys? Grow up.
they could not have given a shit about that man's body on the ground.
No.
They just wanted to fight. That's what it came down to. Texans are 8-5 now. Jaguars are 2-10. I don't fully trust the Texans either. They're very close to fraud territory there. Another fraud team, and unfortunately, they're the one I picked as a Super Bowl team. I don't know how they're going to be. The Los Angeles Rams. They are 6-6 now after beating the New Orleans Saints, who are 4-8. Final score was 21-14 there. Scott's Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I know you were sweating in this game.
Bit.
It's the Carolina Panthers. Bucks beat the Panthers in overtime, 26-23. Bucks are 6-6 now. Panthers are 3-9. How are you feeling about Tampa Bay, Scott? Like, you guys are in position to win the division.
Well, it's almost the same situation as far as Cincinnati goes. Like, that defense is hurting right now. They're towards the bottom of the barrel as far as yards allowed per game. The only thing that is our saving grace is our schedule for the rest of the year. We got the Raiders, the Chargers, the Cowboys, the Panthers, and the Saints. So I still like us to go above 500 from then on out. But as far as like the standings go for the NFC, they're like one of those bubble teams. Like, they're right behind the Commanders right now for a wild card spot. So it's just like, you look at the Commanders schedule and like who you guys have left to face: the Eagles, Falcons, Cowboys, Saints. I mean, thankfully you guys have you guys just had your bye week, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys just had it. But yeah, so I'm interested to see.
Oh no, this is our bye week.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, I'm hopeful that one of these other NFC teams above us are going to shit the bed. And maybe we can jump the Falcons and take. I think that's really the only way possible we can kind of squeak into the playoffs is just being that 9-8 or 8-9 team that gets in simply because you're a division winner.
And then you get some Baker Mayfield magic. Who knows?
And then we beat the Commanders in the wild card round.
Oh, God. I want that rematch now. We're awake. We're feisty. We're hungry. I want it.
Speaking of hungry, that would be a great game to watch at Gus's Bar and Grill, located in Richmond, Virginia, who have literally the greatest bar food that I think I've had in Richmond in my life.
Oh, and we're gonna be getting to Gus's in a second. We're gonna be getting to Gus's because, man, what a moment. What a Monday night for them. But before that, we had Zoo's Nightmare Bowl, which was the Philadelphia Eagles against the Baltimore Ravens. Eagles beat the Ravens in that one 24-19. Philly is 10-2 now. Baltimore 8-5. Kind of a battle of MVPs there between Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry, and Justin Tucker just breaking my heart, honestly, because I hate to see the legends grow old. And now that it's getting there.
We've had a lot of Washington kickers who have had terrible experiences here, left, and then had this huge rejuvenation of their careers. Maybe it's just time for Justin Tucker to make his way down south, come to the better part of Maryland, and it could just be what his career needs.
Yeah, that could be it. Speaking of former Washington kickers, did you see that Joey Sly? He's with the Patriots now. He was the Washington's kicker the last couple of years. He attempted a 68-yard field goal in that game and came up it looked like about half a yard short. Perfect accuracy, like it was perfectly down the line. Came up about like half a yard short. But I also saw when he missed that, he's missed 5 this season within 30 yards. So I don't know what the correlation. I don't know what's going on with kickers this year. Something's in their head.
I mean, Joey Sly always got the long ones. It was just like the shorter kicks and the extra points. He was really bad. It had to be 50 plus for him to be comfortable.
Fuck North Stafford. The Sunday night game, we had the Buffalo Bills against the San Francisco 49ers in the snow. It was beautiful looking. It was a beautiful, fun game for the Bills. Bills beat the 49ers 35-10. Bills are 10-2 now and have clinched the AFC East already. First week of December. Bills have already won their division. 49ers are 5-7. It looks like their window is about, it's crashed shut with Christian McCaffrey going on season-ending injured reserve. And
Jordan Mason.
Yeah, shout out to Scott and his fantasy team, Jordan Mason, who was you're thinking it was like, oh, do I have Jordan Mason? Yeah, I got Jordan Mason. No, he's out on IR too. Apparently a high ankle sprain during that game.
I forgot to send you guys this, but our fantasy is so used to me losing that even when I win by 40 points, it gives me condolences. What the fuck is up with that?
The disrespect, it's almost like it's rigged. They're after you.
Y'all were trying to get me out.
They're trying to get you that punishment of what Luis suggested, getting the Dallas Star tattooed on your ass. He said he'll do it. He'll do it for free.
Ooh.
Monday night, game of the ages.
Oh my God.
Actually.
Oh my God, I'm so excited to talk about it because the Denver Broncos, just get it out of the way. Broncos, they won the game. They won the game 41-32. High scoring game against the Cleveland Browns. Broncos are 8-5. Browns are 3-9. But the Browns are a fun 3-9 now because who do they have leading the charge? But our good old buddy, famous Jameis Winston, who is the most fun quarterback, I think, in the league. He is wildly just charming, joyful. He's all over the place with it. And he had, I think, the most Jameis Winston game that anybody could ever have. Which, if you don't know Jameis Winston, folks, this is a guy who he threw it was a 4,000 or 5,000 yard season in his last year with Tampa Bay, and threw for 30 touchdowns, but also 30 interceptions.
Yep.
So he just perfectly countered everything into like an 8-8 season, and then the next year they replace him with Tom Brady and they win the Super Bowl.
Perfectly mid.
It just works like that. Jameis Winston last night, he threw for 500 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. 2 of those interceptions being for touchdowns. They were returned for touchdowns by the Denver Broncos, including a awful game-ending interception at the end of the game in the end zone.
Cody Barton too.
Cody Barton.
He making
Cody Barton
his life last year.
But he also threw just incredible deep throws to Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy had the game of his life going back against Denver last night. And it was just wild. And to in reaction to all these pick sixes, this is what Jameis Winston had to say.
I know I'm better than this. I know. I'm just praying for the Lord to deliver me from pick sixes.
Like he's the best. He's wonderful. He's a delight. And even without that, we had, I think it was right before the game, they do, the quarterback comparisons and the little animations that they have, and the quarterbacks, they'll stand in front of the green screen and just, do like serious quarterback poses and stand there and, toss a football, just, spin it a little lightly. So they had that for Jameis Winston and Bo Nix last night.
All right, you look at the final 5 weeks, the bye, and then a date with Indianapolis. That's a big one. The Colts, after they got that 2-point conversion late at New England to win by 1 there, they really need that one if they want to try to catch Denver. Then a couple of road games against both the Chargers, the Bengals.
That's the kind of quarterback I want to play for, though.
That they really had beaten Arrowhead, if not for a...
Like, it almost looked like he was like damn near taunting Bo Nix, and he's not even anywhere near him. It was wonderful. Do you guys have any thoughts from the football weekend? Any thoughts from the NFL weekend? As before we get into the draft of a lifetime.
Cooper DeJean and Quinton Mitchell are a very dynamic duo and did a lot for the back end of the Eagles. It's just scary how good that team is now. What did I say wrong? I saw your face.
You said back end. And you bring up Quinton Mitchell, and I'm not one to toot my own horn ever. I feel like I'm a fairly humble human being, but I will like to point out that I did prop up Quinton Mitchell on a fairly high pedestal for the NFL draft preview show, stating that he was going to be one of the more dynamic quarterbacks in the league, even in his first year. So.
You also said the Commanders would take the division. Here we are.
Is the season over? Is the season over?
Man's on.
I had to bring that up because I actually got to go to that game, and man, was it fun. Goodell and Josh Harris were at the Capitol today trying to talk about getting that RFK site back. And I have been to a lot of different stadiums in the NFL, but there is something about winning in your own stadium. Even when the PA system goes out and all the fans have to entertain themselves by starting the wave or chanting Terry just because he's on the field, or raising the Raise Hail flags that we got, which were super cool. It's just like the stadium may be a shithole, but it's our shithole. It's so much fun. It's such a good time. I love being there on game days, especially when it's a win. And it was really, really freaking cold.
Commanders fans are really good with the wave. It was an epic wave when I was there.
And I want to ask you guys something, because I had this thought as I was watching that game and seeing how electric that stadium had gotten with all the success for this season. Do you think that they're still going to try to build a brand new stadium, or do you think they're going to try to repurpose the stadium they have right now?
No, the plan is to have a brand new stadium.
Yeah, brand new stadium, and I would fully see it in DC.
Raise hail and praise Dale.
He's
God's driver now, man.
Using the RFK land to build a new stadium, probably a dome stadium, and I would love that. I would love the team to be back in DC and actually near restaurants and near fun things to do before or after the game.
Yeah.
Chinatown.
Yeah, exactly.